Hey, today I've got some unsettling, untold Reddit threads that genuinely had me sleeping with the lights on. If you want more of these videos, hit subscribe and drop a like. Let's get into it. My husband, 36-year-old male, told his entire family I killed his sister. I didn't even know she was dead. This one was posted to r/offmychest 5 days ago by Throwaway No More Lies. And I need you to hear me when I say this story builds into something genuinely terrifying. Not the kind of terrifying you expect, the quiet, calculated kind. I'm writing this from a friend's guest bedroom. My hands are still shaking. I've been married to my husband, 36-year-old male, for 8 years. I thought we were stable. Not perfect, we had our stuff like anyone else, but I never in my life imagined I'd be typing something like this. A few weeks ago, I got a call from a woman I barely recognized. Turned out she was my sister-in-law's coworker. She asked if I had heard anything about Megan because she hadn't shown up to work in over a week and nobody could reach her. I was confused. I barely knew Megan. My husband kept his family at a distance and I never questioned it. So I told the coworker I'd ask him. When I brought it up that night, he got weird. Not worried weird, defensive weird. He said Megan probably just took off somewhere and I should stay out of it. Then he changed the subject. Over the next few days, I started noticing things. He was taking calls outside. His office door was locked when he left the house. He'd check his phone under the table at dinner. One night, while he was in the shower, I went to his desk. I don't even know what I was looking for. I opened the top drawer and found a printed timeline, dates, locations, fabricated witness statements placing me near Megan's last known movements. His handwriting was all over it. Notes in the margins, adjustments. Some of the entries were dated weeks before Megan was even reported missing. I stood there, holding proof that my husband was building a case against me, and I didn't even know what for yet. She's standing in her own house holding a document designed to destroy her life, written in the handwriting of the man sleeping down the hall, and she still doesn't know why he built it. What she did next showed more discipline than most people could manage with that kind of adrenaline running through them. And honestly, it probably saved her life. I photographed everything in that drawer. Every page, every date, every fabricated witness statement. Put it all back exactly how I found it. I lay next to him that night and did not sleep. Not 1 second. The next morning, my friend Carla calls and asks if I had some kind of falling out with Lauren. I said, "What are you talking about?" She tells me Marcus has been telling his family I had confrontations with his sister, that things got heated between us. None of that ever happened. I barely knew Lauren. We spoke maybe 3 times in 8 years. Then around 4 p.m., a detective calls my phone, wants to chat informally about Lauren's whereabouts. My hands were shaking so bad I almost dropped the phone. I told him I'd call back. That night, Marcus made dinner, kissed my forehead when he handed me a plate, asked how my day was. I sat there eating across from a man who was quietly building a case to destroy my life. I called a lawyer the next morning. She said, "Do not talk to police without representation and start documenting everything." And once I started looking at our marriage through that lens, how he always handled the money, discouraged me from his family, made me feel like I didn't need anyone but him. Every memory flipped. Every sweet moment had a second reading, and none of them read sweet anymore. Think about what that takes. You now know the person sleeping next to you is building a criminal case against you, and your only move is to act like everything is fine. Because the second he realizes you found that drawer, it is over. The lawyer changed everything, but the thing that broke her was not the legal situation. It was going back through 8 years of what she thought was a marriage and watching every memory rearrange itself. The isolation was not accidental. The financial control was not just how he was, it was architecture. All of it was architecture. And she is only just getting started. This is where it stops feeling like a bad marriage and starts feeling like a crime scene. My lawyer started pulling financial records, and that is when everything shifted. There was a family trust, one his parents set up years ago that he managed on behalf of them and his sister. I had no idea it even existed. In 8 years of marriage, he never once mentioned it. When my lawyer got the statements, there were massive withdrawals. Hundreds of thousands moved into accounts I have never seen, shell companies I have never heard of. And the timing. The biggest transfers started right around when his sister reportedly went missing. That is when it clicked. She did not just disappear. She found out about the money. She must have confronted him, and that is why he needed her gone, or at least silenced. And me? I was his insurance policy. The last dinner we had together before I left, he sat across from me eating pasta and casually said, "The police will probably want to talk to you soon. Don't worry, I will help you figure out what to say." He smiled when he said it, like he was being generous, like he was protecting me. But I understood now. He was not protecting me. He was scripting me. I sat there nodding, fork in my hand, and I have never felt more terrified in my life. Every room in that house felt like it had eyes. I started checking if things had been moved. My phone, my keys, papers on my desk. I do not know if he was actually watching me or if I was just losing it, but the feeling never went away. And the comments on this one, people were not holding back. This man built a prosecution binder against you like it was a school project. That is not impulsive. That is someone who decided months ago that you were disposable. Please tell me you have a lawyer. Ma'am, you are not living with a husband. You are living with someone who cast you in a role in a story he wrote. Get out. I am genuinely scared for you. Someone who plans this meticulously does not just give up when the plan falls apart. Be careful. I know. That's what my lawyer said almost word for word. I'm not at our house anymore. I haven't been since the night I found the binder. I took photos of every page before I left. My hands were shaking so badly, half of them are blurred, but my lawyer says they're usable. The worst part is, he hasn't even called me. Not once. Like I was just a variable he's already solved for. Then OP came back with an update post, and this one changed everything. His sister is alive, and she contacted my lawyer. My lawyer called me yesterday morning and told me to sit down. She obtained deleted text messages between my husband and his mother through a legal discovery motion. I need you all to understand what these texts say. His sister is alive. She has been alive this entire time. She found out about the trust fraud, the money he had been siphoning, and she confronted him directly. His response was to threaten her. She got scared and she ran. She went into hiding. His mother knew. She helped cover it up. She helped him build the story that his sister was missing and that I was somehow involved. The accusation against me, the fake timeline, the fabricated witnesses, the police calls, it was all a preemptive strike. If I ever went to authorities about the missing money or his behavior, I would already be discredited. I would already be the unstable wife suspected in a disappearance case. It was an insurance policy, built by a man who plans everything. But here is what broke me. Reading those texts, there was no anger in them, no panic, no guilt, just logistics. Move the documents to the safe deposit box. Tell her coworker she seemed upset last week. Make sure the timeline has her near the house on the 14th. It was like reading a project plan. That is what made the floor drop out. Not what he did, how calm he was while doing it. The reaction to this one was immediate. I've worked in family law for 11 years, and the preemptive credibility destruction pattern is textbook for financial abusers. They don't just hide money, they make sure no one will believe you when you find it. This is exactly what happened to my aunt. Her ex told everyone she was an alcoholic and erratic for a full year before she discovered the second mortgage. By the time she tried to fight it, the whole family already had a narrative. It's military-grade gaslighting. The fact that entries predate the disappearance is what's making my skin crawl. He was writing your guilt before there was even a crime to pin on you. So here's where things finally landed. I filed for divorce last Thursday. Restraining order was granted the same day. My lawyer said the judge didn't even hesitate once she saw the fabricated timeline and the deleted texts. His sister, the one he told everyone I killed, she's alive. She reached out through my lawyer 2 days ago. She's been in hiding since she found the missing money in the trust and he threatened her. She's agreed to testify about everything. The fraud, the threats, all of it. His mother has gone completely silent. No calls, no texts, no response to any of the legal filings. I don't know what that means, and honestly, I don't have the energy to care right now. I'm staying at a friend's place. It's safe. It's quiet. I check the locks 3 times every night before bed. Not because I think he'll show up. The restraining order is solid, and he knows what happens if he violates it. I check them because my body hasn't caught up to the idea of safety yet. 8 years of living inside someone else's strategy will do that to you. The hardest part isn't the betrayal. I keep waiting for it to be the betrayal, but it isn't. The hardest part is realizing that every soft moment, every I love you, every forehead kiss, every time he held me after a bad day, all of it may have just been maintenance on a cover story. I don't know which parts were real. I'm not sure any of them were. The responses to this one were something else. The part where you said he was extra sweet the week before everything blew up, that's the part that made me put my phone down and just sit there for a minute. You didn't just survive a bad marriage, you survived a campaign. Just a reminder for everyone reading this, financial abuse is one of the most common and least recognized forms of domestic violence. If someone controls all the money and you don't even know what accounts exist, that is not normal. And that's what stays with me about this one. The scariest part of this story isn't a monster. It's a man with a spreadsheet. No rage, no shouting, just a calm, procedural dismantling of someone's entire life. That's what makes it so hard to shake. All right, on to the next one. My coworker, 28-year-old male, has started copying the exact way I talk to clients, and it's gone way past flattery. This one genuinely unsettled me. Not in the usual way where someone crosses a clear line and you can point at it. This is so much quieter than that. Way more personal. It was posted 5 days ago on r/offmychest by Quietly Losing It. And I need you to stay with this one because where it ends up going is genuinely unreal. She starts off calm, almost too calm for what she's about to describe. I, 26-year-old female, work at a mid-size marketing agency. Been there about 2 years and I genuinely love my job, especially the client-facing side. I'm good at it. I've built real relationships with these people and I take a lot of pride in that. About 2 months ago, we got a new hire, 28-year-old male. Quiet guy, but seemed really eager to learn, so I took him under my wing, showed him the ropes, walked him through how we handle client calls, introduced him to a few accounts, normal onboarding stuff. After a couple weeks, I started noticing little things. He'd use the same opener I always use on calls. Then I caught him using my exact sign-off phrase, word for word. I told myself he was just picking up habits from sitting near me. He's new, he's learning, no big deal. Then, last week, I'm walking past one of the conference rooms and I hear someone on a client call through the door. I stop dead. I literally cannot tell if someone is playing a recording of me or if another person is talking. The cadence, the inflections, even the little filler words I use when I'm buying time mid-sentence, all of it was mine. Then the client on the other end goes, "Oh hey, good to talk to you again." They thought they were talking to me. It was him. I stood frozen in that hallway for I don't know how long. That's when it clicked. This isn't flattery. This isn't someone just learning the ropes. This is something else entirely, and I have no idea what to do about it. She can't name it yet, but that frozen feeling in the hallway, that doesn't just go away. And what comes next makes all of this so much worse. So after that hallway moment, OP does not just move on. She starts watching him with intention now, cataloging every single detail. I started keeping a mental list. Every meeting, every call, I was tracking it. He mirrors this thing I do where I laugh a little mid-sentence when I'm softening a critique for a client. He does it now. The exact same laugh. He picked up my go-to pivot. I always say, "Here's the thing though," before I redirect a pitch. He says it word for word. He even clears his throat the way I do right before delivering a number. So I decided to test it. On a call last Tuesday, I deliberately used the word granular, a word I never use. It is genuinely not in my vocabulary. By Thursday, he dropped it twice in a client meeting. I brought it up to my friend Jess. She told me I was overthinking it, that people absorb habits from coworkers all the time. I wanted to believe her. But then we had a group pitch and he was presenting. I sat there watching him and I got this feeling I still cannot fully put into words. It was visceral, like watching someone wear your face, like some uncanny valley thing, except it is your mannerisms coming out of someone else. After the meeting, I tried keeping it light. I said, "Ha, we're starting to sound like twins." He looked at me and smiled and said, "You're just really good at this." I do not know why that made my stomach drop. There was no awkwardness, no embarrassment, just this calm, settled energy. Like, yeah, I am studying you, and that is just how this works now. And here's the part that really sat with me. That response was not a denial. It was not confusion. It was not defensive. It was just acceptance. Like he had already made peace with what he was doing long before she ever noticed it. And OP says that is what kept her up that night. Not the mimicry itself. The fact that when she finally said something about it, he did not even flinch. He just smiled. And she realized she was not dealing with someone who picked up a habit by accident. She was dealing with someone who chose her on purpose. Because people who copy you by accident get embarrassed when you call it out. People who copy you on purpose just keep smiling. So OP does what you'd expect. She takes it to her manager. I sat down with my manager and tried to explain what was going on. And I could hear myself talking, and I knew how it sounded. I told her he was copying the way I speak on calls, mirroring my phrases, my cadence, everything. She nodded and said, "So he's learning from you? Isn't that kind of a compliment?" I wanted to scream. I tried to explain that it wasn't learning, it was replication. She said she'd keep an eye on it, but I could tell she thought I was being dramatic. After that, I started dreading going in. I felt watched constantly. Then I noticed something else. He shifted his entire schedule to match mine. He started arriving at the exact time I did, taking lunch when I took lunch, leaving when I left, like clockwork. But the thing that finally broke me was an email. A client I work with sent me a message saying, "Great follow-up call yesterday, really appreciated the extra detail." I didn't make a follow-up call yesterday. I pulled up the call log. He did. He called my client using my mannerisms, my tone, my everything, and the client genuinely could not tell the difference. The client thought they were talking to me. He wasn't just copying how I talk anymore, he was actively operating as me. I screenshotted that email and saved everything. That email changed everything for OP, and the comment section knew it too. This is genuinely one of the most unsettling things I've read on here. He's not learning from you, he's studying you. There's a massive difference. The fact that he responded to your confrontation in your own mannerisms is so deeply disturbing. He didn't even drop the act when caught. That's not normal behavior. I had a roommate in college who started doing something similar, copying my laugh, my phrases, the way I greeted people. It escalated. Please take this seriously. This is exactly what I'm afraid of. It already feels like it's escalating. Last week, he started greeting the receptionist the same way I do. Same little joke I always make. Same pause before the punchline. It's like watching someone rehearse being me. Can I ask what happened with your roommate? Did they eventually stop? Then OP came back with an update post. And this is where it gets really bad. I found out I'm not the first person he's done this to. So I took the advice from the comments about checking for recordings. I went through the company's shared drive, just clicking around, not really expecting to find anything. Then I saw a folder labeled with my initials. Just my initials. I opened it and my stomach dropped. There were dozens of audio recordings of my client calls. Dozens. All meticulously time-stamped going back weeks. Some of them had been trimmed down to isolate specific phrases I use, like someone had gone through and clipped out just the parts where I do my pitch pivot or my closing line. My hands were shaking. I screenshotted everything. I know I should have gone straight to HR, but I could not help it. I walked right up to his desk and asked him what the folder was. He turned around slowly, and when he spoke, he was using my voice. Not his voice doing an impression of me, my cadence, my tone, my exact way of breathing between sentences. He looked me dead in the eyes and said, "I just want to understand how you connect with people." Completely calm, like I had asked him about the weather. I have never been more scared at work in my entire life. Not because he threatened me, because there was nothing behind his eyes that said he understood this was wrong. He just sat there, waiting, like he expected me to thank him for studying me. That update landed hard with everyone who had been following this story, and the comments made it very clear. OP was not imagining any of this. The audio files are what got me. That's not a quirky coworker who admires you. That's surveillance, full stop. And the fact that they were on the shared drive, not even hidden on a personal device. Either he wanted her to find them, or he's so far gone he doesn't even register that it's abnormal. I genuinely don't know which option is worse. The client thinking he was you is the part that made my skin crawl. He's not just copying your style, he's literally impersonating you on calls. That has to be some kind of HR violation at minimum. And OP still had one more thing left to find out. OP came back a few days later with another update post. I found out I'm not the first person he's done this to. So HR actually took it seriously. They reviewed the folder, the screenshots, all of it. He was placed on administrative leave pending a full investigation. He's not fired though, which honestly makes me angry, but at least he's not in the office right now. I thought that would be the end of it. Then 3 days ago, I got a DM from a woman who said she used to work with him at his last company. She found my post after it started circulating. She told me he did the exact same thing there. Picked one person, latched onto them, studied how they talked, how they moved through conversations, and slowly started becoming them. That woman eventually quit because management wouldn't do anything about it. And then he left that company and came to mine, to me. I've started job hunting. Not because I did anything wrong, I know that, but I don't feel safe there anymore. And honestly, I don't feel like myself anymore. I catch myself second-guessing the way I talk now, wondering if a phrase is actually mine or if it's something I picked up from hearing him echo me back for weeks. That's what I can't forgive. He didn't just copy me. He made me question whether I was ever original to begin with. And that would have been bad enough on its own. But the comments really drove it home. Please document everything. Screenshots, timestamps, witnesses. People like this are terrifyingly good at making you look crazy when you try to explain it. He'll do it again wherever he goes. This is a pattern, not a phase. The scariest part is he probably doesn't think he did anything wrong. This is the kind of story that sits with you because there's no clean answer. There's no crime, no restraining order to file, no clear villain. Just someone who decided that your identity, your voice, your rhythm, the way you connect with people, was something they could study and take. And the worst part is knowing the pattern doesn't end here. He'll find someone else. He always does. But that's not the only workplace story that kept me up this week. My sister, 31-year-old female, has been tracking my ex-husband's new wife for almost 3 years, and I just found out how far she's gone. This one made me genuinely uncomfortable, and I don't say that lightly. Not in a jump scare way, not in a someone got hurt way. More like that slow, creeping realization that someone you thought you knew has been living a completely separate life behind your back, and they were closer to you than anyone. This was posted to r/offmychest by Throwaway October 09, about 6 days ago. Here's how it starts. I, 28-year-old female, got divorced about 2 years ago. It was as clean as those things get. No kids, no custody drama, just two people who got married too young admitting it wasn't working. We split everything fair. I kept the cat, he kept the house. We don't talk anymore, but there's no bad blood. My older sister, 31-year-old female, was my rock through all of it. She let me crash at her place for weeks, held me when I couldn't stop crying, drove me to every lawyer appointment. She was furious on my behalf in a way I never really was. Like, she took the divorce more personally than I did. I chalked it up to big sister energy. Last Thursday, I went to her apartment to grab a slow cooker she'd borrowed. She wasn't home yet, so I let myself in and went to the spare room closet. That's where I found it. A 3-ring binder. Thick, tabbed by month. Inside were laminated photographs. My ex's new wife at her gym, in her workplace parking lot, dropping her daughter off at preschool. Every photo had a handwritten timestamp, 27 months of them. I flipped to the back tab and there it was. The new wife's home alarm code, circled in red Sharpie. My hands were shaking so bad the pages were rattling. And then I heard my sister's car pull into the driveway. 27 months. That's not a bad week. That's not a rough phase someone snapped out of. That is a commitment to something no one asked for, and we are nowhere close to done with this one. She did the only thing she could in that moment. Shoved the binder back into the closet, straightened herself up, and walked into that kitchen like nothing in her world had just changed. Dinner was the hardest hour of my life. She made pasta, poured wine, asked about my week. I sat there with my hands under the table because they would not stop shaking. I drove home doing 90, barely seeing the road. Sat in my driveway and started connecting things. All those weekends she said she was visiting a college friend in Pennsylvania. The time she casually mentioned the new wife's gym was an Orange Theory. I never told her that. I pulled up our old texts and scrolled back months. Every drunk 2 a.m. rant I sent her after the divorce. Every ugly thing I said about him and her, about wanting them to hurt. She saved all of it and turned it into a project. I went back the next morning while she was at work and photographed every page of that binder. 63 pages. Printouts from at least 4 fake accounts she created to follow the new wife on Instagram and Facebook. Screenshots of DMs where she pretended to be a mom in the same preschool group. And in the back pocket was a hand-drawn map of the new wife's neighborhood, with her house highlighted in yellow and arrows marking which streets had no cameras. I sat on the floor, trying to decide if I should confront her or call the police. And look, this is the part that really got under my skin when I first read through this post. This is the person who held her together through the worst year of her life, the one she trusted with every raw, unfiltered feeling she had. And now she is staring at proof that her sister turned all of that pain into a full-blown surveillance operation against a woman OP does not even think about anymore. She is stuck between protecting a stranger and destroying her own family. And she knows there is no version of this where both of those things survive. So OP does what most people say they would do, but almost nobody actually does. She picks up the phone and calls her sister. I called her that night. I didn't plan what I was going to say, I just needed to hear how she would react. And that's the part that still keeps me up. She didn't panic. She didn't deny it. She didn't even pause. She just said, "She stole your life." Like it was obvious. Like I was the one being unreasonable for not seeing it that way. I told her the divorce was mutual, that I moved on, that I don't think about my ex at all anymore. She laughed a little and said I was too forgiving and that someone has to keep an eye on things. I asked her about the alarm code. That's when she finally went quiet. A few seconds, maybe 5, felt like a full minute. Then she said, "I never went inside. I just wanted to know I could." I hung up. I didn't say goodbye. I didn't argue. I just ended the call. Then I called my parents. My mom picked up and I told her everything. The binder, the photos, the fake accounts, the alarm code. And she said, "Your sister is just protective. She would never actually do anything." My dad got on the line and said basically the same thing. They made me feel like I was overreacting. Like 27 months of surveillance was just a quirky personality trait. I sat in my car for an hour after that call, wondering if maybe I was the crazy one. And the comments on this one did not hold back. The alarm code. She had the alarm code. That's not obsession, that's a break-in waiting to happen. Your sister was planning something and you caught it mid-escalation. Your parents not taking sides is taking a side. I'm sorry. You did the right thing filing that report. And I hope you know that even when it doesn't feel like it. The love letters with her face pasted over your name, that's not about protecting you from a bad divorce. That's your sister wanting to be you in that relationship. This has nothing to do with loyalty. I keep coming back to this because you might be right, and it makes me physically ill. She asked me for those letters. After the divorce, she said she wanted to help me burn them as like a closure thing. I gave her the whole box. She told me she burned them. She looked me in the eyes and told me they were gone. That was 2.5 years ago. OP came back 11 days later with an update, and it is worse than anyone predicted. She's gone, and my parents are blaming me for everything. I took everyone's advice and called my ex. I told him everything. The binder, the fake accounts, the alarm code, all of it. He went quiet for a long time and then just said thank you. I could tell he was scared. Things were quiet for about a week, and I honestly started to think maybe she had backed off. Then my ex called me at 2 in the morning, completely panicked. Someone had mailed his wife a package. No return name, just a P.O. box from a city 3 states away, the same city where his wife's parents live. Inside the package were photocopies of my old love letters to him, every single one. But the new wife's face had been carefully pasted over my name in every line, like she was being written into my past. I recognized those letters immediately because I burned the originals during the divorce. But my sister was the one who helped me sort through everything back then. She must have copied them before I ever lit the match. She had duplicates of my most private words before I even decided to destroy them. This was not some emotional breakdown. She has been building toward this since the day I signed those papers. That detail about the copied letters hit the comments section like a freight train. I'm genuinely scared for the new wife. Please tell me someone has warned her about the alarm code page, because if your sister has that information, she may have already used it. And honestly, OP should consider that the alarm code might mean the sister has already been inside that house. You don't collect that kind of detail and just sit on it. The binder wasn't a scrapbook, it was a planning document. I know this is your sister and that makes it complicated, but please understand, if a stranger had this binder, every single person would call it what it is. The family connection doesn't change the danger level. And OP is just now realizing her sister was never reacting to the divorce. She was preparing for something else entirely. This is the part where most people would hesitate. OP didn't. She walked into a police station and sat across from a detective. Described everything. The binder, the laminated photos, the fake accounts, the hand-drawn map, the alarm code, the copied love letters. Said it felt like testifying against a version of her sister that she still couldn't fully believe existed. The new wife's attorney moved fast. Restraining order served within days. And then the sister went dark. Every account deleted overnight. Phone disconnected. Complete silence. OP came back 4 days later with an update post. She's gone, and my parents are blaming me for everything. I don't know how to write this without sounding like I'm looking for sympathy, because I'm not sure I deserve any. My sister's landlord called me yesterday. She broke her lease, cleared out the entire apartment, no forwarding address. He wanted to know where to send her deposit, and I had to tell him I have no idea where my own sister is. My parents won't speak to me directly, but my mom texted my aunt saying I destroyed the family, that I chose strangers over blood. They still won't acknowledge what she did. They just keep saying she was protective and I overreacted. I keep going back to all those nights after the divorce, when I called her crying and said horrible things about my ex and his new wife. Every ugly thought I ever had she kept. She filed it away and built something out of it. I handed her the ammunition and someone else's family got hit. I know reporting her was right. I know that. But the right thing has never felt this empty. The comments on this one were quieter than usual. The laminated photos are what got me. That's not impulsive. Laminating takes intention. She sat down, chose the photos, trimmed them, sealed them. 27 months of that. That comment kind of says it all. OP trusted someone with her worst moments, and that person turned them into a campaign against a woman she had never met. Grief and loyalty can curdle into something unrecognizable when no one is watching. And OP did the hardest thing. She chose a stranger's safety over her own blood. And that is the last story for today.